Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Robert Helenius has denied that he has taken something deliberately after failing an anti-doping test. So a day ago, Matchroom came out with an update, Robert Helenius update, you can see here on screen, saying that he failed or returned an adverse analytical finding as part of a random anti-doping protocol. So he was tested the day before the fight, and the result was made known to Matchroom yesterday. So, basically a week or so after the fight. So Matchroom continued. Matchroom defers to the relevant regulatory authorities on the next steps. We vehemently continue to support voluntary anti-doping testing. We are committed to promoting a clean and fair sport for all athletes. They won't be making any further comment. Helenius, so on the back of this, so he's now come out with his own statement the next day saying, I want to say something very clear in my own words right now with absolutely no exception. I did not use any performance enhancement now or ever. I have been tested my entire career. I was just told that I tested positive for the presence of a non-steroid substance in my system, and I wanted to send an immediate direct message to Anthony Joshua and boxing fans that I didn't cheat and never would. I volunteer to work with VADA and the BBB of C to do whatever it takes to clear my name. And that is Robert Helenius' statement on the matter. So a certain sense of irony that for that fight with Anthony Joshua, you had a late replacement in Robert Helenius coming in because the original opponent, Dillian Whyte, also failed a VADA test. So I guess, we saw the result in terms of what happened, Robert Helenius getting sparked out in 7 rounds. So whatever he was had in his system clearly didn't give him some sort of advantage. But we don't know what it is. But one thing to pick up there from the statement, he made it very clear to boxing fans in that he is saying it wasn't a steroid that was in his system, that it was a non-steroid substance. Very deliberate wording. He doesn't want people to think that he was so-called, juicing, as it were, for one of the really bad and banned substances. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what it was. We are a strict liability system for boxing drug testing. The fact that it's in your system means you fail the test, that you are presumed guilty until you can prove your innocence. I mean, sometimes it happens. Someone can say, well, I had a tainted supplement, all that sort of stuff. Or you come up with the weird and wacky tainted beef and, tainted boar and other bits and pieces. The stuff that starts to, really sort of stretch the imagination. And sometimes, what was it recently? Someone applied, some cream to their dog. Other instances, even a bit more lewd. But the reality is, with this situation, Robert Helenius had something in his system. And I guess now we wait to find out, what it was and what's going to happen next, if anything. And I guess the case is with Robert Helenius being 39 years old, is this basically going to end his career? And you have to think about that. Remembering he's just come off basically in the past year some of his best paydays, if not best paydays of his career at the tail end of his career. So, you could sort of weigh it up and go, is it worth continuing? How much money does he want to pour into this based off, is it going to be worth it? The Wilder payday, the Joshua payday, Joshua one he more lucked into because the Whyte situation. But I mean, the other thing that sort of you start to think about with, if he had something in his system that he was taking, and people will presume deliberately, then he must have been taking it to face what effectively was a tune-up opponent in Mikko Milanen the week before that fight with Anthony Joshua. He didn't know he was getting the Joshua fight. He had that comeback return after getting iced and waxed by Deontay Wilder in a round, and he beat Mikko Milanen reasonably easily enough inside, 3 rounds or so. So, so you kind of have to go, well, did he have something in the system for that? But he might say, well, I don't know how it got there, but at the end of the day, the responsibility is on the fighter to monitor and watch what they're putting into their system. Because of situations like this, there is a banned list of substances, the different WADA, in terms of the World Anti-Doping Body, and others set these different rules about what you can and can't have in your system, and it's up to the fighters to comply. That's kind of the long and the short of it. And if you don't you fail a test. And in this case, he has. And I think we know with VADA being a very good testing organisation, seen to be the best by, a lot of boxing athletes at least, they do catch more, it's seemingly, when you look at the different testing agencies, they pay for this extra VADA testing. It seems to catch guys that whatever their, testing protocols are, they're getting more people. So that's not to say that they're missing some, or people, fighters and others are ahead of the science of testing, and they probably are. But is this another indication that they're all at it? Because that starts to become the implication. So many people are failing tests recently. It's been very high profile. And we always have in the back of in our minds what happens if someone ends up getting seriously hurt or killed in the ring by someone who's found to be doping. It's a serious situation. But Robert Helenius, he is saying he hasn't willingly taken anything, that he doesn't know how it got there, and that he's been tested his entire career. But he has made it clear it's not a steroid, so he's trying to say, between the lines there, it's not as serious as a substance where someone's been injecting themselves with something. That is the implication of what he's saying. But it's disappointing. Will we see Helenius drift off into the ether now? He was talking about continuing his fighting career, potentially having a fight in January. So, you kind of have to wait and watch. And, Robert Helenius, another one, something in a system, failed test, comes out with the sort of lines that you would expect, someone in his position to say. When did anyone who actually deliberately took something come out and say, put their hand up and go, yeah, it was me. Yeah, you got me. You got me. They don't. Regardless of the situation, because there's so much money involved. And I guess if they did admit some sort of liability to it, that maybe someone could go after them through the courts or something. I don't know. But in this case, I did wonder, did he get his paycheck? Did that clear 1 or 2 days after the fight? Or are things held back? I don't know how that works. But anyway, we know that this failed test, that this fight that Joshua had with White and then Helenius, both of them ended up being dirty. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.